I've seen some people get killed. I remember one time one of the guys that I grew up with, he was joking around, arguing with this guy, and they were making jokes towards one another about each other's mother, who could tell the best jokes or whatever. And this one guy got the better of the other guy. The other guy goes up to him and shoots him in both kneecaps. Said, "I told you to stop with me," dropped the gun and walked away. One of my boys gunned down in a nightclub. Guy walked up to him, blew his head off, just because he didn't like him.
This guy's gangster? His real name is Anthony. You expect me to believe Stephen Anthony Smith. You expect me to believe that Stevie, the face of ESPN, the face of the worldwide leader in woke, you expect me to believe that he's gangster? You expect me to believe that he was surrounded by hardened criminals? If this story is true, which it's not, but if it is, Stephen A. Smith was surrounded by the dumbest criminals in New York City, because I have never seen a criminal shoot someone and leave the weapon behind. I have never seen a criminal shoot someone and voluntarily leave evidence so the police know exactly who committed the crime. Just think about that for a second. Hey there, enemy, I'm gonna put a cap in your kneecap, but don't you worry. Once my temper and emotions have settled down, I will voluntarily turn myself into the police. It would be like someone robbing a bank and smiling directly into the camera. It would be like a drunk driver getting pulled over and telling the cops, "Good evening there, partner. I've had too much drink tonight. Can you please give me a ride to the drunk tank?" Stephen A. Smith is lucky that this interview was with Graham Besinger, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he chose to suddenly reveal this completely fabricated story to Graham Besinger. No offense to Graham Besinger, but he doesn't really seem like a guy who's knowledgeable when it comes to that life. But my question is, why is Stephen A. Smith doing this? Why is he fabricating stories? Why is he making up lies about his past? I think it's because Stephen A. Smith isn't comfortable. He's not secure in who he is. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. There's just no logical reason to make up a story like this, but to me, this further proves the fragile ego of Stephen A. Smith. Earlier this week, he unleashed a tirade against the New Orleans Pelicans, the most irrelevant franchise in the NBA, the worst-run organization in sports. In terms of mainstream exposure, Stephen A. Smith is a much bigger deal than the New Orleans Pelicans, but he wasted an entire segment on First Take, responding to the worst organization in the NBA, all because they made fun of his non-existent basketball career. For some reason, at 58 years old, Stephen A. Smith wants to be taken seriously as a basketball player. He also wants to be taken seriously as someone who grew up in the ghetto. When he is surrounded by crying Ryan Clark, he wants to be taken seriously as someone who is committed to combating mythical racism. Are you noticing a trend here? Are you noticing a pattern? Stephen A. Smith seems to change depending on who he is around. He's a chameleon. Look, I'm not a psychiatrist. I am no expert in psychobabble. But to me, these acts of desperation point to someone who is deeply insecure. Oftentimes, Stephen A. Smith displays this false bravado. You don't want to go there. You don't want to mess with me. I'm important. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Stephen A likes to brag about his accomplishments. How many times have you heard him say that First Take is the #1 show on television for the last 14 years? And look, he's not the only one in the media who pats himself on the ass. Megyn Kelly was just boasting about her YouTube numbers while diminishing the impact of other content creators. It's one thing to thank your audience. It's one thing to show your appreciation to your audience for your success, because they are the reason you are successful. But it takes a completely different tone when you pretend that you're above everyone else. It reeks of insecurity. I like Stephen A. Smith. I'm not pointing this out to criticize him. I'm not Jason Whitlock. I don't obsessively monitor Stephen A's every move. I actually feel bad for Stephen A. Smith, because if he is insecure, it doesn't make sense. This dude is the biggest star in sports media. He has successfully transitioned into political media, making $20 million a year at ESPN. From my understanding, he has 2 lovely daughters, got a great family, great career. But there seems to be this void that Stephen A is constantly trying to fill. One of my good friends, he is the exact same way, highly successful, always been driven, great family. But ever since we were kids, he's always been chasing something. It's like he's never felt like he was enough. He's always trying to fill a void that never gets filled. Now, obviously, I don't know Stephen A. Smith personally, but I see the same characteristics in him that I have seen for the last 30 years with my friend. I feel bad for him. It has got to be miserable. It's got to be disappointing to constantly be on the chase. It's got to be difficult to constantly try to fill a void that never gets filled. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.